Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another Decentralized Masters podcast, your go-to source for everything in decentralized finance. I'm Tristan, and my co-host today, John, will be joining me in about 10 minutes or so. He's just getting here. We're here to guide you through the ever-changing world of DeFi, one strategy at a time. Every week, right here on the Decentralized Masters YouTube channel, we go live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to bring you the latest insights, updates, and tools to help you in the DeFi space. So, just checking in. How are we doing today, everyone? Make sure to drop any questions that you might have about anything really going on in crypto right now. Put them in the comments below on whatever platform you're using. So, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or even Twitter, X. Put them in the comments below and I will go through them. But if we don't have anything to go over directly, I do have a bit of a presentation for you guys today, as well as just going over some basic things that have happened in the market as of lately. So I thought I would just start off today by going over crypto bubbles, just as we usually do here, and just kind of see what's going on. We have Bera doing very well today. We were actually talking about this in the private group this morning. Bera's TVL, so total value locked, it was 3.5 billion, which is a lot higher than most chains right now. And saying that Bera's a very new chain as well, that is really impressive. So Bera doing very well today. Something that we called out quite early in our private group. Walrus. So this is a Walrus token for the project Walrus on Sui. I did a little bit of research on this one this morning as well. Walrus is a DPIN kind of infrastructure play. So it's like storage, like data storage. Like if you wanted to send large data, like you'd kind of use like a Dropbox kind of application. That, from what I understand so far, with just a little bit of research, is what Walrus is. But it's actually on the Sui network, and it is the first, I think, DPIN project built on Sui. So that is really an interesting concept. You see that we have we're doing quite well on it for the day as well, and you can see that Sui probably on the news of Walrus is up as well today. So we're seeing a very mixed bag in total in the market today. There's no clear trend going on here. You can see that some tokens are down. For example, Doge, Trump, the memes here kind of looking down. But then you have some projects like Sui, Walrus, Tau, Tia, Bera, Hype Token, all doing a little bit better today. So it looks like it might be a utility kind of thing right now. There is no clear pattern in the market, I would say. We're kind of in that wait and see approach. So things are very specific on how they're performing. On the weekly, though, Bera doing very well. Again, AVAX doing well. Pepe up as well. So you can see that on the week, we're not doing too bad, especially compared to how we were doing on the month. Month was looking a little grim last few weeks. So we're doing a little bit better now. And I'll get a little bit deeper into that now as we go into my little bit of technical analysis I have for you guys today. I'm sure John, when he joins, will do some TA as well. But this is just kind of my general sense of things at the moment. All right. So here's what I am seeing. Right now is a very critical moment. I have this downward sloping channel at the moment. So lower highs, lower lows, not a great pattern. But we are at this critical point right now, kind of where that 87,000, 88,000 is, where we might have the potential to actually break out of this channel and potentially uh, continue in upward momentum. That's a little bit of hopium, though. That's absolutely not guaranteed, because we could just as easily break down right now where we are, and we could continue this downward facing channel. It is very, at the moment, it seems to be everything is very news dependent. So we're kind of waiting on information from the Federal Reserve. We're waiting to see what kind of executive orders Trump is putting out next. Because if we're getting more tariff news, then you could probably expect the stock market to go down. And if the NASDAQ, especially, so stock market important, but NASDAQ is really important. I'll pull up the NASDAQ chart at the moment, actually. That is, NASDAQ was very, it has become very correlated with Bitcoin. So, pull this up here. We'll just go to QQQ. So the QQQ, what we're looking at here is it's an index fund for the NASDAQ. So it has all the big companies, Tesla, NVIDIA, Amazon. It has all the very large big tech companies in it. And as you can see here, the NASDAQ did break out of this downward facing channel that I had for it, which is great news. And it does look like that we are kind of creating this, as you could say, this upward momentum here. This is only, we're only looking at the 1 hour chart at the moment. So, short data is not, it's not the most reliable, but it does look good compared to where we are. So it's giving me a little bit of hope that we might be out of this downward facing channel. And you can see this, what I'm talking about, a little bit better here on the 1 day. We have broken out of this channel, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that we can start resuming going up here. And then if the NASDAQ starts trending back up now, that would be great, because we can see Bitcoin also following. But for now, it's a little bit still up in the air. I'm not sure. We did make a low candle yesterday, so it's up in the air at the moment. But it was looking better than it was last week. Last week was grim, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, and so back to Bitcoin at the moment here. We are in this kind of section here. We're fighting it out between the bulls and the bears. I think we'll have that. I think we're already looking at a bit of a breakout right now, because we're outside of the channel at this point now. So we want to see in a Goldilocks scenario here, we want to see us holding above that 90,000, 92,000 kind of range, because that was our previous support. Sorry, that was our previous. We had a support there previously back in January, February kind of time, where we were bouncing from the highs. The $100,000 level, we would hit 92, 90,000, and then we'd jump back up. So that was our support. So that old support has become our new resistance, and it has become very difficult for us to push above it. Yeah, lots of action right now just above this channel at the moment. I did also a little Monte Carlo simulation. Don't take this as gospel. The Monte Carlo simulation is just random data based on previous historical trends around this price range, using volume and how the I guess you could say the action was around this range. It does look good. The Monte Carlo simulation does look like it's pointing up in most simulations. I'd say it's looking very sideways to slightly up at the moment. But yeah, not financial advice. That is just kind of what I'm seeing. Some important news that we've had over this week was that Not too much. We didn't really have any economic data, so there's no Fed meeting. Trump has been quiet for so the Trump administration has been quiet, as the Trump administration is usually making a lot of waves. It's been a little bit quieter this week, which has been nice. It's been so busy last month, February, end of February, all of March. It's been so much data coming at us from the FOMC meeting, from Trump announcing tariffs. And you know what? It's nice to have a break. So our news has been a little bit more relaxed. The SEC did drop a probe into the Immutable company, which is something that John and I have talked about here on the podcast before. Immutable is one of the largest projects in gaming, for decentralized gaming, or tokenized gaming, that exists at the moment. So the SEC did have a probe into their business, but has now dropped that. So their token IMX is surged 15% on that news. So the good news for Web3 gaming out there. Fidelity also is planning on releasing its own stablecoin, which is interesting. We see a lot of different entities planning on doing stablecoins right now. For example, World Liberty Finance, which is the Trump organization company that owns all the that has that crypto portfolio, that has a lot of ETH, Avalanche, etc. They are also planning their own stablecoin right now. Everybody is jumping on that stablecoin bandwagon. Everyone saw that Tether made $13 billion or something this year, and they have 100 employees. So it's one of the most profitable companies out there at the moment. So everyone is trying to get onto that. I guess you could say stablecoin business trend. So new stablecoins are coming out of nowhere, which is good. It's good. It's driving adoption, but always be careful, especially in stablecoins. It's giving me slight flashbacks to the Terra Luna disaster, where the stablecoin Luna became not so stable, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So just be careful what stablecoins you're getting involved in. If you're not confident in being able to pick your own stablecoins, you can go through the tried and true USDT, which is Tether, or the USDC, which is Circle. So yeah, just watch out for that. And also, but another big, I guess, biggest news this week, GameStop. So the meme stock has decided to add Bitcoin to its treasury. So very similar to MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. They are 100% Bitcoin in their business's treasury. But GameStop has said that they will move a certain portion of it. So not all of their business's treasury, but a certain portion of their treasury will now be held in Bitcoin. They are doing this alongside, they've done this, some other companies like MicroStrategy, like I was saying, but also MetaPlanet, which is based out of Japan, and Mara, which is a Bitcoin miner, are doing this similar strategy. And it's been working well for them in the stock market until recently. Last month or so, these stocks have been crushed. But in the case of GameStop, it's already a bit of a meme stock. It's got a lot of short interest on it. It's it's a good publicity stunt. It's good PR for them. They'll get more attention back on the stock. So even if they're only moving 5% of their treasury into Bitcoin, they've already probably come out pretty successful with some PR here. So not a bad move, not a bad business move, but probably a little bit overrated in terms of how it will affect the crypto market, if any way. So today, I guess you could say, what I wanted to cover today, this is my presentation for you, is diversification. I've noticed that within our member group that some people are either not diversified enough or diversified too much. So I just wanted to go over a little bit of diversification practices with all of you as well. So, why and what is diversification? Diversification is the practice of spreading investments across various assets to reduce risk and enhance stability. Um, it's not a Bitcoin maxi friendly strategy. So if you are 100% Bitcoin already, there's no real, well, you're not going to enjoy the rest of my presentation here. If you are, yeah, if you're an XRP maxi, you only own XRP or you only own Bitcoin, then you may not enjoy what I'm about to say, but I think you should listen anyways because it might benefit you. It's no secret that, you know, cryptos are volatile, whether it's Bitcoin or XRP. So this is some ways to create some peace of mind. So you might have good returns, like for the last 2 years. If you were holding Bitcoin, you're looking pretty good. Your portfolio was up quite a bit. Probably, I think it was up close to 130% last year. So you're doing not bad. And same with XRP, you're up 100% or so if you've been holding it for the last 2 years. But the stresses of drops, if we get some bad news in the economy, or there's a potential interest rate hike, or inflation is picking up again, and then this risk off environment that we're looking like we're getting into right now starts continuing, it's not going to be a good time for your portfolio. So that's why I'm just saying it's also a good idea to look at some other options to hedge your bets. I think I heard John. Hello, John.
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Not bad, not bad. I am just getting into the diversification presentation I have today.
Nice. Hey, what's up, Filippo? Good to see you, man. He said hi, Tristan, as well. And
Filippo.
hey, John. Filippo. Shout out to Filippo. How are you doing today, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. Markets are, I guess you could say, there's no trend. Some
Neutral.
some projects, yeah, they're neutral. There's no some projects were up, but it's on like specific news, like project specific news.
Yeah.
So you're not really seeing up or down in the market right now.
A lot of I would say there's definitely a lot of things going on in the market. A lot of juicy things to talk about. So, what are you going to be doing right now? Are you going to be continuing with the presentation right now?
Yeah, I think I'll
Go for it.
continue with the
Yeah.
presentation a bit, and then we can kind of touch back onto the market again.
Yep. Go for it, man. I'm just going to mute
All
myself.
right, no problem. Alrighty. So risks of an undiversified crypto portfolio. If this is just an example, if you were 100% in Terra Luna, which, you know, uh, back, before it collapsed, well, it didn't sound like too bad of an idea. It was very successful at one point, even a darling. Like everyone in DeFi was loving Terra Luna until you weren't, until it debased, the stablecoin debased, and the token crashed. So this just it's a good way, it's a good reason or a good example of why you don't want to have too much all in one spot. Doesn't matter how uh, bullish or positive you are on a project, it is good to have a little bit of your risk spread out a bit. Even Warren Buffett, one of our greatest investors of all time, he only held about 12 to 15 stocks at one point. And that's about a perfect number because you're not over diversified where it's difficult to keep track of your investments, but it's not so little that if one thing goes under, it takes you down. It takes your entire portfolio down with it. You can usually come out the other end okay. So you want to be diversified within the multiple asset classes of crypto. So obviously, you want some Bitcoin in the portfolio. Bitcoin's track record speaks for itself. You need it in the portfolio. Ethereum is good. A bit of a dog in the last few years, but I still think it's essential part of the portfolio, and we might see some good recovery coming up for it as well. You should have some L1s, so having some Solana, having some Sui, potentially some XRP, maybe even some Cardano. Having some other L1s in your portfolio also could be a good idea. Some L2s, so Arbitrum, Optimism, could also be a good idea. governance tokens. So not all governance tokens are created equally. Some of them are less great than others. I know the Uniswap token has not been a great performer, but for example, the Aave token has been. So you just want to kind of pick and choose when it comes to things like that. It's a good way to get some diversification, but you also want to make sure that you're picking a winner instead. Some utility tokens. So I know I got examples down there as Axie and Sandbox. Neither of those have been great performers, but there are good utility tokens out there, and it would add a little bit more diversification. And of course, my favorite stable coins. There's now not only do you have USDT, USDC, but now you have all these other stable coins. You have stable coins that are yield bearing, like USDY from Ondo, which gives you a clean 4.2% yield just from US Treasury bonds. So that gives you a little bit more diversification in your portfolio and gives you some income, especially when the market is down, for you to reinvest. So having some allocation to stablecoins, always a really great idea for your portfolio. And also, you should invest across networks. So don't pool everything in one network. For example, don't have everything on Ethereum. So if you're using, if you have your liquidity pools only on Uniswap, Beefy.finance, which is one of our favorites for our private group, or PancakeSwap, where everything is kind of, Ethereum based. I know Pancake's BNB, but you get what I'm saying. If everything's on Ethereum and something bad happens to Ethereum, well, there goes your whole portfolio, right? So having a little bit of your, even having a little bit of diversification within the portfolios that within the protocols that you are using. So having a little bit maybe on Radium, which is a Solana-based protocol, or having some tokens on AlphaFi, which is Sui. This gives you some hedges just in case something network specific happens, especially because we've seen it before. Like Solana goes down once in a while, tanks the token. So it's not bad to get a little bit of diversification within the protocols that you're using. And then we also have sector diversification within the asset class diversification. So tokens do perform different functions. So you have, you like your DeFi tokens like Lido. You could be diversified into NFTs if you still think there's a market there. For example, Ape token. I remember I once paid an intern in Ape token back in 2022. I don't know how he's doing today, but just these little things like that. Gaming, of course, is a big sector. John and I have talked about gaming before. We are fans of that Ready Player One metaverse ecosystem that we could potentially see in the future. Really exciting things like that. You also have DePIN, so like decentralized infrastructure, where they're building out wireless networks on the Helium network. There's storage, so like Filecoin and that Walrus token that I was talking about earlier today on Sui. So there's different little niches that you can get involved with. Another personal favorite of mine is real world assets. So that's the tokenization of stocks, real estate, bonds. That seems to be a very hot narrative this time around as well. And a few months ago, AI was a hot narrative, not so much anymore. But yeah, getting a little bit of diversification within sectors, great idea, because in stocks, in traditional finance stocks, not every sector moves at the same time. And I think we are going to get into a similar kind of environment with crypto, where certain sectors will outperform other ones at specific moments. Before all crypto kind of moved together, now we're kind of that correlation is coming to an end. Things are breaking up a little bit. Yeah, and then the last thing I just wanted to say is do not over diversify. For example, if you have XRP, XLM, and maybe HBAR, they're all kind of in that same family. They're all doing a similar thing. Perhaps maybe consolidating. So maybe going down from 3 tokens to 2 tokens, or going from 3 to 1. It's just look at the projects, look at the charts, and think which one has the best which one has the best performance, which one you think has the brightest future, and going all in on one. My example here is if you were in Ford, the stock, and General Motors, the stock, you're these stocks are the same. They're operating the same market. They have the same customers. Their products are very similar. If something happens to the U.S. auto market, like magically everyone in the U.S. starts building trains, and Ford and GM don't see as much sales anymore, that will affect them very specifically. So if you're invested in maybe Ford and I don't know, maybe like Toyota, where in Japan they stopped using trains for whatever reason, you'd have that diversification. So if something specific happens in one market, it doesn't affect all your stocks. And that same principle applies here to crypto. It's when you have similar tokens, might be better off just having one and trying to pick a winner there. Yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to share about diversification today. It's hard to follow when you have 20, 30, 40 tokens. So keeping it, less than 15, not really a bad idea. Yeah, that's kind of all I was going to go over today, John.
Nice. Look at Vernon. Welcome in, Vernon. John and Tristan, always lovely to catch you guys yet on another live. Welcome in, Vernon. Good to see you, man. I like your
Welcome,
profile
Vernon.
picture. It looks like it's a cat. Awesome, man. A lot of things to talk about. Hopefully, most of what I'm going to talk about you didn't fully covered. I'm sure you probably touched on it, but not really discussed it. So I definitely want to go ahead and do that with you right now. So let me just go ahead and share my screen, and let's go ahead and get started. So welcome in, everyone. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. We're going to go ahead and start off as usual with crypto bubbles. A little bit neutral all across the space, as Tristan was saying. Nothing too impressive. I was actually listening to Trump's speech right now a few minutes ago, and really interesting. A lot of things to say. So let's see how things go there. Some things were definitely positively discussed. One of them being how he mentioned about crypto. So we're going to see where things go moving forward, but maybe there's some news that changes the markets and starts ramping up that excitement, either to the upside or to the downside. So hopefully positive things are said. But as you see right now, everything across the board neutral. On the daily, a little bit of neutral too. We do see a few assets doing quite well. One of them being Barra. Barachain has been performing pretty well, been giving actually some really good yields. A lot of members from our private community and mentors have been talking about Barachain. Are you dabbling around with Barachain right now, Tristan?
I am messing around a little bit. More of just doing research. I know a lot of our mentors are kind of focused on it right now, so I got to keep up my tabs. I got to make sure I can stay and talk about it.
Yeah.
I did mention it earlier in the podcast. I just said, yeah, look at Bears doing good today. I think the TVL for it, when I looked this morning, was at 3.5 billion. So
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely has been growing a lot. I don't know. For me personally, I feel like it's a little bit overvalued. I feel like it could probably go down to $5, but we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, I think Barachain's definitely going to be doing some really big, massive things. I mean, they've been providing some really good liquidity pools in their platform. So I'm definitely going to be dabbling more with Barachain and see where things go there. But overall, as we see, nothing crazy in the market. Now, there has been a lot of news in the market. I'm not sure if Tristan talked about this, but we'll touch it. Trump went ahead and announced that he will be releasing his own stablecoin that is pegged with the US dollar and is also backed by short-term US government treasuries and other US dollar deposits. So I think it's a pretty big thing on DeFi. I mean, I would have never guessed we would be seeing a stablecoin coming from the president of the United States. We'll see where things go from there. One thing I do want to mention, it will be launched in Ethereum and also BNB. Hopefully, as time goes on, it could also be base. But I'm really looking forward to see if there's going to be some very juicy yields coming in when his token gets released. So something to go ahead and look forward to. How do you feel about this, Tristan? Like, what's your outlook to this? Kind of crazy, don't you think?
It's kind of crazy. I was thinking like, is this going to be another yield bearing one like USDY from Ondo? And then on top of that, if you had two yield bearing stable coins in a liquidity pool, like how is the yield? What is like? What would the total yield be on that thing? Just little
That's a great
questions.
question. That's
Yeah,
a great question. And that's even if they, because if you also got to keep in mind, it's probably as soon as it releases, it's probably already going to be at a pretty high market cap.
yeah,
So who knows if they even release anything? But like, why would he be releasing his stablecoin? The stablecoin, by the way, guys, is the USD1. Now, I did do a little bit of research and I did come across another stablecoin called USD1. So that is not the one that Trump's team went ahead and released. It still actually hasn't gone live. They already deployed the smart contract. So the token has already been created. The only thing they're waiting for is now providing the liquidity for the token to officially go live. But the token has been created. The smart contract has been developed and deployed. Well, developed. I don't think it has been fully deployed yet. But it is developed and deployed, if you want to call it, already on the blockchain, but liquidity hasn't been added to that. So we're going to go ahead and see where things go moving forward. But it's pretty interesting to see. I'm not sure if many of you remember, but we talked about how Trump's team was actually in talks with Binance's team as well, Binance US. We talked about how there is a possibility of some sort of partnership coming in. And I think that's probably what the partnership was. Maybe Binance will be the first one to list as well, USD1. So definitely some big things in the space. We'll see where things go. I mean, it's really interesting to say the least. The other thing that I really want to go ahead and touch on that was announced yesterday in the afternoon, we saw a little bit of market correction. Trump announcing 25% tariffs on cars imported to the U.S. Pretty big problem, honestly, really big problem. I don't really even think the U.S. really makes many cars in the U.S., so that's really a big problem to begin with. So, from what I was doing research on, they were saying that coming April 2nd, because that's really when they're going to come into effect. That's when they're going to go ahead and start charging businesses with the tariffs. It's set to go live. From what I was hearing, if you are in the market for purchasing a vehicle, maybe now might be the time. See, I've been in the search for the market for a vehicle, and now this comes out. So definitely not too good. We'll see where things go. Possibilities could be that this gets announced and maybe like in 2 weeks to a month, they go ahead and get rid of it and we're back to normal, right? So we'll see how this is used. But apparently, from what I was just doing research on, a lot of those imports actually come from Canada. So not looking too good, right? So what are your thoughts about this, Tristan?
yeah, Canada and Mexico. Like, how am I supposed to get my new BMW? I gotta get tariffs from Germany. Like, come on.
Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. But I don't know if this means that Americans won't have to pay income tax anymore. Might be worth it.
Yeah, well, the way I was looking at it, because I've actually been in the market for car shopping for a while, and I've been waiting just to like see if the prices go slightly down a little bit more, and then we get hit with this. So I think we could be seeing a possibility of the used car market slightly go up now. So they're probably going to start charging a little bit of a premium, based off the fact that now, from what I was doing research on, a lot of the parts also come from Canada. So it's a very tricky part where now not only used car prices might go up again, we also have new cars now back to some sort of premium, and also now auto parts being a problem. So if your car gets damaged or you need to repair it, expect to go ahead and pay a little bit more of a higher price due to the tariffs that are now being in place. So we'll see where things go. Hopefully it doesn't last for too long. That's really what I'm hoping. And it's really going to be interesting where things go. I mean, maybe this is to go ahead and boost the car market. We've been talking about how the car market has taken a big hit in the US. And the car market is one of the measurements that they use to go ahead and see how, if there's any retail spending going on. And we've actually been seeing a decline in used cars and also new cars due to the fact of high interest rates is mainly one of them. And most of the second half would be because of the pre-pandemic levels that we had, or during the pandemic, when we had those premiums on cars, literally double of what the car was actually worth, right? So a lot of
That
people are
was
upside down on
ridiculous.
car notes. Yeah, so we'll see where things go. They're saying supposedly this is what I'm hearing from the media, but you know what I mean. This is probably what they're trying to do. They're like, oh, if you've been in the market a car shop, this is the sign to buy now. And I'm like,
Hmm.
snap. I'm like, should I wait or should I just go for it? I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see where things go. Really interesting to see where things are going. But as you guys see right here, many of the car companies are actually operating in Mexico and Canada. So not looking too good. I could think maybe the only vehicle that really does have a high production in the US is Tesla. Tesla has been giving up some pretty good incentives, but we'll see where the game's being played here. I would just recommend all of you guys just be on the lookout for that. This is what's causing a lot of the market shakeout too, as well. We'll see if there's any other further news coming in April on how the market reacts when that actually comes in place. The second thing I wanted to talk about is Trump Media stock surges on a plan to work with Crypto.com to offer ETFs. For all of you, many of you might not know, but Crypto.com is a pretty big exchange, mostly used in the US as well. I would say it's almost like second or third to Kraken. They've actually went ahead and purchased the Staples Arena, which is now the Crypto.com Arena. So if you ever go visit Los Angeles and you want to go ahead and watch a basketball game, hockey game, or whatever the case is, you're going to be watching it at the Crypto.com Arena. So it looks like what he's trying to go ahead and push right here with the narrative, as you see right here, the ETFs are expected to be made of cryptocurrencies and securities with a made in America focus. So it looks like these ETFs are going to be mostly focused on cryptocurrencies that are based in the US. So we'll see where things go moving forward. But we did see a little bit of an increase with CRO token, which Crypto.com does have their own token called CRO. We did see a slight increase when these news came out publicly. What are your thoughts about this, Tristan?
Well, I'm a little bit a ways away from the Los Angeles, so I think it's a 3 hour flight. So I haven't been to the Crypto.com arena yet. But I know the Crypto.com is definitely one of the more popular exchanges out there. Did they have like Matt Damon in a commercial back in 2022 or something? Anyway,
I'm not too sure.
yeah,
Maybe I know they
I
had a lot of Formula
right.
racers though. They had a lot of Formula racers as advertisement.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the better advertisers out there. I guess I don't know how many people are really using Trump Media though, but I guess if they're still making deals, they're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I also forgot about this. Trump also has a publicly traded company, so that's what Trump Media is. So I don't know how well it's doing, but apparently it got an increase. It surged about 9%. So it looks like ticker symbol is DJT. I've never personally traded his stock. I don't know how well it has performed. Last I heard a while ago, it was down quite a bit. But we see someone comment Savage One. Let's go. How's it
Let's
going, man? Hope you're
go.
doing well. But yeah, very crazy news, I think, in my opinion. There's a lot of positive things, yet the market's not really doing much. And I always like to go ahead and give this as a reminder that there's always things going on in the back end that they're not going to push as much for media attention. It's one of those where like the news will get released to those that pick it up, they'll pick it up. And they'll start positioning themselves. So even though we've been seeing a little bit of turbulence in the market, I think this could be a pretty good sign to see that institutional interest is definitely coming in, and there's still a lot of interest in the market overall, right? So even though the market looks shaky, I think we are definitely ahead of ourselves. Now, maybe we're delayed on the bull run for a few months, Maybe it could be a year, who knows? But at the end of the day, I think from a long-term perspective, looking at crypto, 10 years down the line, I don't think you could go wrong with at least holding one of the top asset classes. Not financial advice. I wanted to go ahead and share this. So Circle and Near invest $14 million, and I believe the application is called Remitly. It's very similar to PayPal. Is one of the services like Western Union, where you can go ahead and do international transfers, sending and receiving internationally between users. And it's really interesting. So this app has over 500,000 monthly actively users, and Circle and Near invested 14 million. So it's really interesting to see. Maybe they might be implementing some sort of crypto into it. I'm not too sure what they're aiming for right here. I just do know that someone that was actually in a member in DM was actually an advisor for this company. So I'm sure his stocks options are doing very, very well. I'm gonna have to reach out to him and see how he's doing. But yeah, this is crazy. Maybe we get to find out what's really going on, because um, I really want to know what's going on with Circle and Near. Like, it doesn't say they're investing into a token. They really don't say much, but an investment coming from Circle and Near of $14 million, like, I don't know, that does definitely raise some eyebrows. Like, what is it that they're working on, right? So really interesting. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm going to go ahead and see where things go. But let's go over onto this next article. So let me ask you, actually, Tristan, have you ever used Remitly yourself?
No, not exactly. However, I do have a bit of experience in remittances in general. I've been around the world. I've been to, but one of the places that are most relevant here is I was in Armenia, which has a large diaspora. So there's more Armenians living around the world than there are actually Armenians in Armenia. Uh,
Really?
for that reason, though, Armenia isn't a very wealthy country, so all the Armenians from around the world are always sending Armenia money into Armenia, and they can use the normal Western Union, but that charges like massive, massive fees. So there's actually a lot of crypto ATMs all over the capital of Yerevan. So you go into a grocery store, crypto ATM. You go into a gas station, crypto ATM. Malls, crypto ATM. I even walked into the Canadian Embassy in Yerevan, crypto ATM.
Wow.
So although the fees that you'll often see in crypto ATMs are high, still lower than the Western Union remittance. So we might be seeing some interesting action from Circle, especially if you're using stablecoins.
Yeah, I mean, also touching on the topic of expensive fees with these services, such as either ATMs or money services, um, they're also a lot quicker. So Bitcoin's a lot quicker. It's not like the Western Union, where it might take you a few minutes to go ahead and get that confirmation, or even go out of your day
Days,
and
man.
walk to
Yeah.
somewhere, or take a bus somewhere, transportation, to go ahead and pick up the money, right? So that's where the issue also comes in. Um, yeah, I'm sure over time of adoption, these services are going to become more. I don't want to say the word affordable, but inexpensive when it comes to the fees. But that's the thing that we're in right now. Like, especially due to the fact that regulations not really set in place. Everything's just kind of like, who knows if this digital currency thing is real or not. I mean, if you're still questioning it, I don't know what to tell you. Really, I almost like feel like I'm living in a dream every time I wake up to new news talking about these positive things that once a few years ago, this is something we all would have dreamed of, right, Tristan? Like, have
Yeah.
you been in crypto for a while? Like, what we're seeing now is like what we've always envisioned. We're like, one day it's going to become this big thing. And look at it now. It's kind of crazy. It's going to be like that "I told you so" moment to a lot of people that didn't decide to expose themselves, specifically including family and friends. When you were probably telling them back in 2017, buy some Bitcoin, they didn't listen, because maybe a big investor like Warren Buffett called, Bitcoin being poison, and now he's also an investor in Bitcoin. So we'll see where things go. But we do see a comment here by Savage One. He does say, absolutely awesome. Thank you all for the alpha. Definitely appreciate your live chat. Learned a lot in one stop. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. That's some really good information you provided there, Tristan. Wasn't aware that they had that many ATMs.
Yeah, tons.
So NASDAQ exchange parent ICE to explore new products with Circle stablecoin tokenized fund. So I was like, what the heck are they talking about this ICE thing? So it turns out it's a clearing house for NASDAQ. This is what's really interesting here. So it's pretty funny because, well, it's not really funny. It's pretty amazing, actually, how they talked about one day possibly tokenizing the stock market. And it seems like we're almost getting closer to that. So as you see right here, this is what ICE is Intercontinental Exchange. The parent company of the New York Stock Exchange is exploring use of Circle's USDC stablecoin and USYC, which I personally never heard of USYC. Maybe Tristan has, but they're wanting to go ahead and tokenize money market fund to develop new products. So as you see right here down below, this is a move to part of a larger trend of the U.S. financial giants integrating digital assets, specifically being stable coins. Now we're also seeing asset manager Fidelity. They're currently in debut as well with tokenizing money market funds and are currently working on a stable coin. So it's pretty interesting to see where things are currently heading at. It looks like we are going towards that tokenization of one day tokenizing the full stock market and being that 24/7 market that everybody wants. This is some pretty crazy news. What do you think about this, Tristan, yourself? Are you familiar with USYC, by the way? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not familiar with USYC, but I could imagine there's some Wall Street bros out there who are not looking forward to a 24/7 stock market. Yeah, it's not like they weren't busy enough. So I guess there's some pros and cons, but I think personally pros of having a 24/7 stock market, instant verification, instant settlements is the benefits definitely outweigh the positives. There just might be a little less sleep out there for some of the finance pros.
Yeah, quicker fill-ins too in stocks.
Yeah,
Faster.
yeah, and then potentially, some liquidity pools for stocks. You put some
Yep.
Apple and some Tesla in a liquidity pool. Yeah, loop some yields. Stake
Yeah,
your
your
Ford
Tesla.
shares. Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to see some degen things happening as soon as we get some stocks on the tokenized.
Talking about degen things, I wanted to go ahead and kind of cover the topic about GameStop
Oh
wanting to
god.
go ahead and expose themselves to Bitcoin. So this is pretty amazing, I would say. I don't know how they have so much money cash on hand. Now they're also doing this. They're raising 1.3 billion via convertible debt to buy Bitcoin. To be completely honest, I don't know what the heck this means. I'm sure pretty much Tristan would know about this. This was also shared after they went ahead and publicly announced that they're looking to go ahead and hold on to a Bitcoin reserve for a GameStop. Apparently, they have a couple million or billion available in cash to go ahead and deploy. And what they're looking to go ahead and do is deploy that into Bitcoin. Now, this kind of almost gives me vibes to what we saw last bull cycle when we saw AMC and GameStop coming into action and seeing retail take over, creating a massive short squeeze where GameStop went as high as $600. Pretty insane. And now I wanted to go ahead and ask Tristan, what the heck does this mean? Convertible debt to buy Bitcoin. Explain it to us.
Yeah. So okay. I'm gonna say I'm not extremely familiar with this, but I will give you my best shot. From what I know about convertible debt, is usually it's debt that they raise, so they're raising money from investors, and at some point in time, the investors can either turn that debt. Usually, it starts as a bond. Usually, they can transform it into shares at some point. That's usually what convertible debt is. How they're going to do this with Bitcoin, I think I think it's a bit of a PR stunt, if anything. But it is interesting that another company out there is going out and adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet, even if it's only GameStop.
Yeah, and we actually saw a massive increase from GameStop after these announcements. Even the GameStop meme coins in the crypto space, in Solana and Base, we saw a massive influx of about like 80 to 50% pumps in regards to what's going on with GameStop. Now, for all of you that might not know, the new co-founder or founder or CEO actually of GameStop is Ryan Cohen, who's currently leading GameStop. For all those that might not know who Ryan Cohen is, he actually created also Chewy, Chewy.com, I believe it's called. It's basically, it was a platform for pet owners that is very similar to Amazon, that you get subscription based model shipping, whether it's treats, or I was going to say actual dogs, treats, dog food, cat food, things like that. That's what Chewy was created for, or even toys, right? So yeah, so it's really interesting to see where these things are actually going to be heading moving forward. But on that note, talking about USYC, I did actually went ahead and quickly did some research on it. And this is a quick introduction into USYC. US Yield Coin, that's what it stands for, is the on chain representation of Hashnote's short duration yield fund, SDYF, invests in short term US Treasury bills and performs repo reverse repo activity as the underlying asset of the USYC token. The USYC token earns short term risk free rate returns. The fund benefits from the transaction speed transparency of the token, eliminating a virtuality of protocol custody regulatory credit risk associated with other tokens. I went ahead and checked it out on CoinMarketCap. It looks like maybe the token is also not live. I'm a little confused. I don't know what's going on with this, but I couldn't really come across anything. You said personally you haven't heard of this yourself. Is that correct, Tristan?
No, not yet, but it sounds very similar to Ondo's USD, their token USDY.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's trying to release a USD token nowadays, because honestly, that's really where the money comes from. Apparently, from what I was seeing, I think it was like from the fees or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I was seeing that USDT and USDC have made so much money in the last 4 or 5 years, which is insane. It's a
Yeah.
stable coin.
Tether is one of the most profitable companies out there. So they have like 100 employees, so they're not huge, not in any sense, but they're making billions of dollars. So
So how
they
are they
are
making these
very
billions? Is this
profitable.
through fees or what? What is it? Is it through minting?
So what they do, here's the business model, is all those Tether tokens, there's a US dollar backing it. Well, at least you hope there is. But instead of having a US dollar backing it, they actually have all those US dollars invested in treasury reserves. So, treasury bonds. So they're collecting a 4.5% interest rate on all their reserves. And then the USD tokens, they're out in circulation, but they don't give us a yield. If you hold USDT, you get nothing.
Yeah,
Uh, they're making billions of dollars just on that 4.5% that they're getting from their reserves.
that is insane.
Yeah,
That is insane.
it's pretty impressive.
That's why everyone's trying to do this new stable coin, because that's where the money's at. Um, Anyways, let's go ahead and quickly look into the chart, see what's going on with the market overall. Start off with the Nasdaq. For all of you that might not know, this does track basically Bitcoin, literally one to one. And currently, what we're looking at the Nasdaq right now, we are seeing what seems to be appearing two actually patterns I actually see occurring here. One of them being, it looks like a double bottom, which is a pattern of a reversal coming in. And also, the other pattern that I see forming could be a possibility of a cup and handle pattern. So, depending on how far we go down and how deep we go, hopefully we can see some sort of recovery and also some sort of stability when it comes to finding this next area of support. If we do find some sort of support, let's just call it here, we should be seeing the Nasdaq come back and break back into that resistance, which was once a support, as you guys see. And that would be a major sign that a reversal has now taken place. So basically, to keep it very simple, what does that mean? It means that the bottom could be possibly in. This could be the bottom of the shakeout of what we saw. So what that translates to Bitcoin, as I said, same exact thing. I was actually on a call with our private community with Tristan that we have every week called Let's Talk Crypto. And we were going over this with our members, and we show them how this could be possibly a possibility that we see in the market with Bitcoin. I actually went ahead and literally just used a tool to go ahead and copy all the candlesticks from prior of 2024. And I just went ahead and slapped it on there to just kind of get a visual idea of what could potentially possibly happen. And we'll see how this plays out, but something like this could be happening, or maybe we actually get a breakout a lot sooner. But I do believe once we start seeing that breakout and that buying pressure start to come in back into at around the $89,000 to $90,000 zone, which was once an area of support, once it breaks through that resistance, that would essentially confirm, I wouldn't say fully confirm, a reversal in the market. And the reason why I say that, a possibility of a reversal, is because, as you notice right here from what I copied, it could also go ahead and actually do a fake out where everyone thinks that was the bottom. It pushes it to the top and starts hitting resistance, starts getting rejected once again. And then we're just in a movement where Bitcoin is just consolidating. Very, very boring for a while before we see that breakout once again, right? So we'll see where things go. One thing that I was telling everyone that I came across was this right here is a chart of Bitcoin in 2024. As you see, there's a common thing that I've noticed that usually happens. We see typically July being a time where the market usually starts to top off, right? Specifically being Bitcoin. As we see right here back in 2024, July, Bitcoin went ahead and topped. We started to see a bottom coming in between August to October of 2024. We also saw the same similar thing back in 2023 when Bitcoin also saw a top in early July of 2023, the bottom being August to, I would say, around October, entering almost November, where we started to see Bitcoin starts to break out to the upside one more time. Now, another interesting thing too right here is actually this is where a bottom is also being formed, kind of between the zone, but this was a little bit different in 2022. But in 2021, a little bit different, not exactly the usual top that we see, but as you see right here in 2021, July 21, we do see some sort of temporary top for Bitcoin, and then we start to see that reversal coming in towards the end of July. And then that's when we see Bitcoin go from $29,000 to now then going as high as $68,000. So I don't know if this is a coincidence that usually July has this kind of sell-off. But the other reason why I'm also thinking we could be entering this time in a market where we'll see we'll see upside momentum and volatility, but I think we're probably going to see some sort of consolidation like this, similar, due to the fact that we also have the FOMC meeting until May, which possibly, based on what Tristan told us, the poly markets are saying that there's a high probability it might get rejected as well, and they might not do anything when it comes to cutting rates. So more than likely, there's a higher probability after May, the next FOMC meeting is going to be June and July. So I think between June, latest being August, would be the time where they could possibly be cutting rates. And that would basically mean that we'll probably see something very similar to what we've seen in the past, where Bitcoin usually tops around July. Then August, September, October is when the market starts to recover. So what I'm personally doing right now, I'm staying in the sidelines still, just stacking USDC. I'm actually in a liquidity pool on Harvest right now. Yield is not too bad. At one point, it was earning about 10%. That thing has probably come down to 7%, but you still can't beat that, right? From another traditional bank. What are you personally doing right now, Tristan, with these markets? And what do you think based on what I showed you? Like, do you think that there's a coincidence that July always seems to be a sell-off, and it's also as well with the stock market. If you've noticed, usually stock market during these times, we start to see the slow pull. Like we'll see some pumps, but nothing too crazy until spring and summer ends. What do you think about this?
Well, I would love to give some deep technical reason for it, but it's quite simple. Um, Institutional investors go on holiday. It's businesses. That's when people go on holiday during the summer. People are going on holiday, and the markets just aren't as busy.
Yep.
You ever hear that old adage, "Sell in May and go away"?
Yep.
Yeah, and what that means is people often get invested in the market kind of in, like August, September kind of area, October, and that's where you see those pickups usually that John has just been talking about.
Right.
And then they hold out through the winter because everyone is working except maybe during Christmas, and then they get to May, and then that's when they sell, and
Yep.
it's not that's not the gospel. However, that's not, there's going to be years that are not like that, of course, but that is kind of like the general pattern.
Yeah, for the most part, usually coming into the new year, there's a lot of slow movement in the market. And it's not like it's not typical. I mean, we could literally go back with Bitcoin all the way back in March of 2024 is when we started to see a top in Bitcoin. And this time seems to be around January of 2025, right? So this kind of movement where like this movement right here will probably play out into duration until July, coming in August when we start to see the market slightly pick up, or maybe it just picks up instantly, right? I'm not a wizard. I wish I was to tell you exactly what's going to happen. This is just a visual representative, so you can kind of get an idea what could possibly happen, and you could just mentally prepare yourself if you do see these kind of movements. Just remember, it could be just a slow grind and just being extended and dragged for as long as it can. And like Tristan mentioned, usually everyone's going to vacation during this time, so markets are usually kind of a little bit slower. People are, we have spring break, then we have summer as well. So everyone's enjoying themselves, and then August comes, and most of the people that have kids, the kids are back in school, so now they could go ahead and focus on their jobs, careers. So that's usually the reason why during these months we start to see a small, very slow movement in the market. And also keep in mind too, especially because usually during the new year there's also new laws and regulations that start to get implemented, so it's a lot of like waiting to see how people react. So this time was a new president, so people wanted to go ahead and see what the new president will do, what was going to be said during those times, and that's usually why they wait a few months to go ahead and see what's going to be implemented, what kind of new things are going to be talked about to possibly make their future investment coming in after they come from their summer vacation. So expect that. Just giving you guys a heads up. This is a worst case scenario. We see some slow kind of grind, trying to go ahead and break the highs of Bitcoin. But remember, these articles that I went ahead and showed you is not to go ahead and tell you that because President Trump is buying X token that we should all know. It's really more of a way to show you that there's obviously some clear signs that there's still a lot of purchases being made behind the scenes, and a lot of institutional interest still going on. And just expect it could be a very slow grind for Bitcoin to break once again towards new all-time highs. So, what that means with altcoins, expect more volatility. A lot of these altcoins still haven't bottomed out, in my opinion. That's kind of the reason why, for me personally, like depending on where the market goes, and this is not fully related, but I've been looking at like Bera, and I've been wanting to buy some, but for me personally, I think it's a little bit overpriced. Tyler said it's not, and it looks like it's holding support right now. So we could actually see a continuation with Bera, but I would definitely would love to see Bera come down to the fives, and see how it holds and see how the market responds to it. But overall, I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunities with a lot of altcoins. So just prepare yourselves. In the meantime, what I'm personally doing, I'm not looking to do anything aggressive. I told myself until mid-April. For the moment, right now, just going to be USDT stable coins. I'm gonna play it a little bit safe. Wait for all the noise to leave the markets. For example, the tariff talk is definitely not good. Just a heads
No.
up. And that's one of the main reasons why I've also decided to just kind of stay stagnant, because I do know that there could be a lot of political movement happening right now in the next coming months. What do you think, or what are you doing right now, Tristan, during these markets? Are you in liquidity pools, stable coins? I know you told us a little bit, but what are your plans? Are you getting aggressively with buying altcoins right now? Are you still doing the same thing?
Yeah, I'm still hanging out. In the market, you have three options. You are a buyer, you're a seller, or you're holding. And at the moment, I am a hodler. I am just holding on. I don't see a clear uptrend. Don't see a clear downtrend. I do have my DCA in Bitcoin. That's still going. Keeping my eye on Solana. Well, I was watching Barra. Didn't do anything with it. I guess that's the curse of the markets. You're always watching, and then you don't do anything, and then you're like, damn, I should have got into that, and then you feel the FOMO. Don't do that. Don't feel the FOMO. Fight it, because we could easily just go down right now as well. All Trump has to do is say, oh, I don't know, 50% tariff on EU imports or something, and then we're toast by the market.
Yeah, yeah,
So
100%. And talking about being patient, for example, a lot of us saw the market slightly start to pick up these last couple of days, and we saw like a quick little sharp, somewhat of a recovery, if you want to call it, or bounce. And I almost wanted to get aggressive into my investment. I'm like, maybe this is the bottom. My head was telling me. But I remember the game plan that I told myself. My game plan is I'm not throwing money aggressively into the market until April, until the middle of April. And sometimes, as hard as it could be when you're seeing this FOMO that could possibly kick in, a prime example was I was looking to buy a meme coin. Instead of adding more to my meme coin, I went ahead and rotated out of one token and added to another one. I've actually made a little bit of slight profits into it. So I was like, I'll just throw it into this token. So that way, mentally, I feel like I'm buying dip. But I'm really just I'm relocating the funds that I already have. I'm just moving them around, right? And I was getting very close to getting more aggressive into it because I just started to see all these other tokens just pump. And luckily, I was like, nope, I got to wait for my plan. I told myself mid-April comes. And I don't care if the market goes up. I don't care if the market goes down. I'm going to stick to my plan, which is mid-April. I'm going to consider buying more. And luckily, I didn't add to it because guess what? The market fell. So that's where Tristan's coming from. So yeah, don't become emotional to the market. Stick to the plan. If you say you're not going to go ahead and buy the dip for 2 weeks, stick to it. But you also have to make your decision ahead of time. So when it comes to things like this, I make these decisions ahead of time before things happen. So that way I'm mentally prepared. So if a pump does happen, I know that I'm not going to go ahead and throw money. Um, like I said, this is just the plan that works for me. Usually, when I do emotional trades or purchases, they usually don't turn out to be good decisions. And I don't think for the most people, emotional purchases ever become good decisions, right? For the most part. So be very, very careful. Do not go ahead and react to the news, whether it's positive news or negative news. People are going to forget over time. Like this tariff things right now is just kind of slowing down the market. But believe me, as long as things go well and they don't increase it, like Tristan says, the market's going to forget like nothing ever happened and the market's going to be back to normal. So everything's all temporary and short term when it comes to the news reaction. So remember that. But that's pretty much everything that I had to go ahead and cover on my end. Just be on the lookout. Tomorrow is Friday. We'll see how this market ends. Like I said, there's more positive than negative. NASDAQ is looking really positive for the moment. Hopefully that support is being held. We're also seeing gold now trying to break above that resistance. So we're going to see if gold could go ahead and break that. I was hoping we'll start to see that breakdown on gold. This is what I was hoping, and now it looks like it's climbing. So maybe it creates a double top for gold, and we do see some sort of a dump. But usually, when gold is going up, is not a good sign because that means that people are not willing to take on risk. So realistically, we would want to see gold come down. So we'll see where things go, but gold right now is showing some strength, and it is back at that $3,000 an ounce. Another thing right now, we are seeing the DXY slightly trying to break out. Worst case scenario, we see the DXY go up to dollar and then start to get rejected at the 105, hopefully. But also, we need the dollar to go ahead and continue to fall down in order for these markets to go up. So, right now, things are not fully clear. It looks like the dollar wants to go up higher. It looks like it might be experiencing some resistance, and then gold is as well. So, we're going to see these next coming days. Hopefully, tomorrow, good news are announced. But if tomorrow in the stock market, the market does close in the red, expect Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies to also be in the red, leading into over the weekend towards next week. With that being said, go ahead and close it off, Tristan, if you have anything else to say.
No, that's about it. I don't have anything particularly interesting coming up. Rest of the March will be quite quiet. We don't really have any FOMC information till May, so
Yeah.
we might actually get a quiet April. So
What does
on
that
that
mean?
though,
Boring? Does that mean a boring April?
you know what? After such a busy March and February, I'm okay with that. If we got a consolidation period where I can just stack some more
I agree.
tokens,
I
I'd be
agree. That's what
perfectly
I've
fine
been
with
telling
that.
everyone. I'm like, look at this as an opportunity to one, double down on your knowledge because I'm going to be focusing on new blockchains to play with and dabble with. Because when the market's down, you have more of a clear head of focus. But when everyone's making money and the market's pumping, you're like chasing the next shiny object, right? So during these times, double down on your knowledge and also stack more into your assets that you're looking to buy. So for me personally, I look at this as an opportunity, but I'm also not expecting much, to be completely honest, until that FOMC clears, that there will be a rate cut, which could be leading into June, unfortunately. Um, Go for it, Tristan. What are your thoughts with that? I want to know what you're doing in these next couple months when it comes to that.
I'm stacking stables. I got some good pools right now. I'm a fan of some good ones on Sui Network. So I'm trying to get around that 10% yield on
Nice.
USDT. Yeah, yeah. But that's kind of where I am right now. I'm not interested in really anything.
What about gold?
Stack.
Are you buying gold?
No, no, it's up. It's you shouldn't be buying things when they're near that all-time high, right?
Yeah, gold is a little too high.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till everyone forgets about gold again, and then I'll
Yeah.
start spending a little bit more in the portfolio. But at the moment, I've just left what I have. Think about maybe rotating it into something like Solana, something that's really down at the moment. But we'll have to wait. We have a
Yeah.
comment from Varun before we sign out here. Bitcoin to 70K. Varun must be short. Well,
I like the attitude, man.
yeah. Well, you can always make money in any kind of market, whether it's a bull or bear, and that's something that we teach in our private class. Yeah. Alrighty. I'll sign us out. Thanks for joining, everybody. I really appreciate you all tuning in today for this week's episode. I hope you're walking away with some clear strategies and insights to push your DeFi journey forward. Remember, DeFi is evolving fast, and staying ahead means taking action with the right knowledge. If you're ready to dive even deeper and want a roadmap to build your own DeFi success, check out the DeFi Masterclass. The link is in the description below. In the training, you'll receive clear hands-on strategies to maximize returns, manage risk, and truly make the most of what DeFi has to offer, right from our CEO, Tan. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss next week's live episodes. And until then, keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you right here next time on Decentralized Masters. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care, guys. Later, Vernon. Have a good one.